with my friend Callie Nissing, who is an amazing dancer, and we're going to talk a little bit about what a dancer does and her shoes. If you've listened to The Dancing Princess, you know that a dancer goes through a lot of shoes because they wear out pretty fast. They're very hard on their shoes. And dancers use all different kinds of shoes for the type of dance that they do. So we asked Callie to bring in all her different types of shoes to show you why each one is special for the type of dance that she wants to do. So Callie, tell me all the shoes you brought.
All right.
What's your oldest pair?
My oldest pair would be this pair of point shoes that are just nearly ripped to shreds.
They look like something Yulia would wear.
They do. I definitely identified with that part of the story. Inside they have a paper towel, which I put over my foot to protect my toes. But every dancer has their own type of padding or thing that they like in their shoe. Some use a lot, some use almost nothing. But these I used in a music video, which just was an opportunity that came up that I never thought would, which was very exciting. It was kind of my first professional dance experience.
Oh, neat. And so how old are they?
These are probably maybe like 8 years old or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long do they usually last? I mean, how many hours do you dance to wear out a pair of shoes?
Yeah, these were destroyed pretty much in a matter of like 2 hours or so.
Oh no!
But that was just due to like the stage that I was on was really rough, so it put in all these holes in them.
Oh,
but usually for say something like Nutcracker or like if you're in a show where you're rehearsing every single day and then maybe 5 hours on the weekends or something like that, probably go through at least like a pair of shoes a week. I usually would have like 2 or 3 that alternate between. It would change between rehearsals. They get really soft, so that if you start to feel like the floor when you're on your toes, you'll want to change them, and then you let them sit overnight and they get hard again.
That's weird.
Yeah, sometimes you get special kind of like super glue that you can put on the inside, so it just hardens up the tip again. These ones aren't soft on the tip, but I do have some that are like, you can really like press into the tip of them.
What are the tips made of that they get hard again? I always thought it was wood or something.
There's, this outside is kind of like layers of thick paper, like kind of canvasy material that's like mixed with glue. It's just layers of that. So it still is pretty malleable and soft, so you can roll through your toes. But that's also why it gets, like these parts are almost completely like fallen in, sunken in and depleted. Well, this is still pretty hard. But that's why when your foot sweats and things like that, they get really soft. But then on the inside, there's a whole lot of glue in here, but there's a really thick cardboard. Then this is the part that supports your foot. It has leather on the outside, but it's got a thick cardboard that you can still kind of bend to most of the arch of your foot, but it still is pretty hard to support you too.
I always remember my brother told me a funny story because we both grew up watching a lot of dance, and amazingly my brother loves dance.
Awesome.
And he went to see a live performance once, and he said, I never realized that ballet was so noisy.
Yeah.
Because you hear tap, 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 tap all over the place.
Yeah, we try so hard not to, but also like, I mean, yeah, they're pretty hard.
That was a revelation to him for sure. So what other kind of shoes do you usually wear? I know you said you don't do a lot on point these days.
Yeah, I did a lot of point when I was younger. So now they're just something I still like to keep around. I do use my flat ballet shoes regularly just to take ballet class in. And these are kind of like a sock, so they're made out of canvas with some leather on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
They also wear out really easily after a while, so always like in my big toes, I always get holes there after a while. And yeah, they cling really tightly to your foot, so you can see them be nice and pointed.
Okay. It always amazed me how when you do turns and you do like 3 revolutions, you do 3 revolutions or more. Some ballerinas do like turn. How do you keep your foot from sticking to the floor? I mean,
Yeah, luckily having the leather on the bottom helps with that. So I mean that makes it not too slick, because that's also a little scary to dance on if anything's too slick. But yeah, the leather helps with that. So there's a little bit of resistance to the floor, but also enough that you can still turn.
oh, good, yeah. So I imagine flexibility of your feet is really important when you're dancing.
Yeah, especially for ballet or any styles that are kind of based in balletic movement. Being able to like roll through your toes and really like articulate your feet is really important. And the color of these ones, especially like traditional ballet shoes, are often pink or that kind of pink satin color, since they're the color of the tights that dancers often wear. So that it makes your line look really continuous and long.
Oh, cool. So I know when I was dancing years and years and years ago, I did a lot of jazz. Are there special shoes for dancing jazz at all?
Yeah, there definitely are. I have tan ones right now. There's also a lot of different types of jazz shoes. Sometimes they're black leather with like laces up the front. These ones are just a different style. They've got a really stretchy middle part so that you can point your feet in them. And then they have a little bit of a heel, which is pretty normal for a jazz shoe.
Oh, cool. It's almost like they're not really shoes. It's almost like you got the front part and the back part, but there's nothing in the middle. It's weird.
Yeah.
Is that so you can bend your arch a lot?
Yeah, so you can really point your feet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
They're really nice. And then, what about firmer shoes? Are there shoes that you wear when you have to like keep your feet straight or?
Yeah, definitely. Got a couple of different ones for that. Tap shoes, which are also used for any sort of rhythmic dancing. But they're a really rigid shoe, so you really want your foot to be pretty floppy from your ankle. You don't want to be able to articulate your toes. It's easier to have kind of a loose foot, so we have a pretty hard shoe for that.
And then they have a tap on the toe.
Yeah, they have
and a tap on the heel too.
Yeah. Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how often do you tap dance? How often do you find the need to wear these?
I personally don't tap as much as someone that like has trained in tap dance a lot. I use them for shows, so that's why I have them. If choreography needs taps, then I'll put them on and practice. Yeah.
Cool. And then you brought some character shoes too.
We did. This is another type of hard shoe, but they've got a bigger heel on them, and the outside is really hard to support your heel. But they also are still pretty bendy and have leather on the bottom, so you can turn and still point your feet a little bit in them. And I use those for musical theater.
Oh, neat. Yeah, there's a lot of different dancing in musical theater, I know.
Yeah.
From one number to the next.
Yeah, for these ones, you need to be able to turn, to jump in them, to glide in them, do a little bit of everything.
So versatile.
Yeah.
I'm noticing some red shoes over there.
Yes, these are my new favorite shoes, I think, just because of the show that they were from. But sometimes for shows, you get lucky and get fun shoes that they'll paint for you. So these I wore in a musical, and I played just a dancing role in it. But they're kind of for contemporary movements, but they match my costume, and they're just like a fun red booty type soft shoe.
Cool. That's neat. They remind me of Hans Christian Andersen's The Red Shoes.
Yeah. Something like that.
I hope not.
No.
So when did you start dancing?
I started dancing when I was 3 years old, and have continued since then, going through a lot of different styles. I started with ballet and kind of trained in that up through high school, and kind of still continue that just because it feels right, it feels good. But I've incorporated, I learned a lot of hip hop and jazz and contemporary musical theater as well along the way.
Yeah. So did you study dance in college as well, or?
I did a lot of dance in college. That wasn't like my major, but I did it consistently throughout, and I've done programs outside of college at other facilities and stuff.
Cool. So, and then when you dance, I know in the story, The Dancing Princess, she is compelled to do it because there's nothing that feels like it or makes her as happy as dancing. How do you feel when you're up on a stage and there's music? Some people say, they feel like they're alone, or some people feel like they're just part of the music, or what do you feel when you're actually performing?
Yeah, I think on this is gonna sound weird, the most memorable performances for me are ones that I can't remember what it felt like to be on stage. Just because you can have a million things about the show going through your head when you're performing, but those moments when you're truly dancing, I feel like you don't have to think about anything. You just feel so good afterward, and yeah, there's something about when you just can make an entrance and you can hear the whole room gets quiet, and you're like, I did that. I made that entrance, and you are saying a lot without even speaking. So I think those types of moments are what I love about it.
Okay. So if somebody's watching this, maybe they listened to the Dancing Princess and got them excited. So if somebody's watching this who's younger, what would your advice be to somebody who wants to do this for a living?
Yeah, I would say be curious and try all styles. Start with whatever you feel drawn to first, and be okay with that maybe changing. I think that the more different styles you can expose yourself to makes you become just that much better performer, but also you're just gonna enjoy it more and find new ways to experience. Like, I don't think I would ever have been as maybe like proficient in ballet if I hadn't also started to learn hip hop, which sounds counterintuitive, but it gives you such a different understanding of other movement when you try something else. I think that's my biggest advice is try a little bit of everything if you can.
Cool. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Callie. And make sure to listen to Dancing Princess, and Callie will be performing all over the Seattle area as soon as they let us. She's an amazing dancer, and we thank her for joining us today.
Thank you.